Hello again, welcome to Great Lakes Powerstroke. It started to snow in Michigan. It actually did a couple days ago or a week ago, but where I am, it started to snow. So, so this is a conversation about the General Grabber X3's in the wintertime. I still have my same set of 35-12.5 Grabber X3's. I went through 2 winters with the Power Wagon with 33-12.5 17s on it of Grabber X3's, and this is my second winter with this truck. Now I did get this truck, well, I guess not second winter. First whole winter, I had a partial winter with it last year. I did put the Grabbers on after the snow came, so I used the stock tires, which are those those AT2. Oh man, I'll put it in the description where the factory tires are. Those factory tires that come on this truck are actually really, really good. I have very little complaints about these stock tires, and I should really do a tire review on those because I'm actually really, really impressed. If you're not trying to go like off-roading, seriously, stock tires are really, really adequate to say the least. Even in snow, mud, you know, those things you might take a 7,600 pound truck in, they're very, very adequate. If you're trying to do anything like, whether it's going through a field or a tube track or a farm drive, if your buddy got a deer, you got a deer, or whatever, and you're taking your truck, you might want to consider having a little bit better tires on the off chance that you do get in some mud, which is why I have Grabber X3's on here. The downside of running these tires is really, really very little. You can see it's kind of a little bit of a nasty day, and you can't really get any worse than, you can have sheer ice. We don't have sheer ice. You can see the road in front of me has a dusting, which is extremely slippery, and you have the crosswind blowing the snow onto the road, which of course causes it to be very slippery. The only thing that could be worse would be black ice or glare ice, like if it rained and then it froze. But these tires really inspire a lot of confidence. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I can see very well. I'm not too worried about my speed, but I'm doing 55 without much of an issue. I'm gonna get on the brakes really quick. And they're pretty confident. You have to ABS down, but that's kind of part of the deal. As you can see, we're ABSing down. But it's definitely very, very slippery. And to be honest with you, street tires perform no differently. If you could get 33-12.5 Blizzaks or some true snow tire, like a load range E or D, even D, when you have a 35-12.5, you don't need to have a load range E. It's just not necessary. Load range D of that size is into the 3,000 pound per tire territory. Unless you're putting a 3,000 pound camper in the bed and driving around with it, load range D or Ds are not going to hurt you. And even so, I don't think they're going to hurt you, especially with 35-12.5. But anyway, it is definitely super slippery, and really, it is not tough to drive. Now, I'm in 2-wheel drive. I don't run 4-wheel drive unless I actually need it. I do have the locker engaged because I like having it there. With the Ford's calibration, it disengages at 20 miles an hour, which is annoying, but at the same time, there's so much traction control in this truck, you can't drift it or do anything fun anyway. So it really doesn't matter all that much. Under 20 miles an hour, you're going to have a locker, and then it'll unlock. Now, if you really had a lot of load on the tire, you might not have an unlock until you got the load off the tire. So if you were in a really bad situation where you're just pinning it to win it, getting through a mud hole or something like that, you did something dumb and you had to get yourself out of it, it might not unlock. It might. I don't know. Your mileage might vary. We're going to have a beat truck in front of us. But anyway, as you saw, that's kind of the thing you're dealing with any big tire, unless you have a car and real snow tires. Real snow tires are worth the money to have a second set of wheels and a second set of tires. All day long, every day of the week, you should have them. I don't care if your state says it's a law or not. You're really being extremely disrespectful to other people driving around in tires that should not be in the wintertime. It's just that simple. If you can run Blizzaks on your car, you should. They're amazing. Or many other types of either ultra high performance all seasons or actual snow tires or max performance. They have a bunch of different designations for them, but a high performance all season as in an all-season that is extremely good in the snow. There are many. Dunlop, Goodyear, Bridgestone has them. There's a billion different offerings. Extremely important. In a truck, though, your tire options are much less. That I have ever seen. You can't get real snow tires because they don't make them in these big low ranges. Mud tires are the best in deep snow. Period. End of conversation. When you have extremely deep snow and you're, playing off-road or whatever, you cannot beat the massive lugs on a mud tire digging in and going. I'm going to be very careful here because these are all beat trucks. They're all very heavily loaded. Anyway, so mud tires are the best in deep snow. Mud tires are not as good as, say, a Goodyear Duratrack in these conditions right now, where you have hard ground and you have slippery surface. Duratracks are awesome. I put over 100,000 miles on various sets of them, and many of those miles in the snow, and they are awesome. Period. They're great. The downside is if you really get into deep snow, then you're going to miss having a real mud tire. The other downside being Duratracks are just about as loud as any mud tire, and they are as loud as Grabber x3’s. Grabber x3’s are pretty quiet. They are as loud as a mud tire, and they don't perform as well as a mud tire. That's why they get a lot of hate, and they also wear, in a lot of cases, if you drive hard, fast, whatever you want to call it, they wear very, 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 very similarly to a mud tire. Though, all-terrains, especially Troke grapplers, my buddy had a set of Ridge grapplers. They did not last at all. He hated them. Could have been a lot of factors. You never really know, but he really despised them, and from what I saw, they did wear extremely fast in his truck. May have been the driving style, may have been an anomaly with his F-150, I don't know, but they wore like crazy. I have an awful lot more, or a lot better luck on Grabber x3’s than he had on his Ridge grapplers, and I would say I drive equally, if not more of it, aggressively, we'll put it that way. So, basically, the point being, mud tires are not death wishes in the snow. You do have to respect the fact that you need to have braking distance. If I was in the city, I'd be budgeting a whole lot more braking distance than I am right now. Actually, I'm budgeting a whole lot of braking distance because there's a beat truck in front of me. There was one that looped up on a road not too long ago, a couple hours ago today, and don't really want to collect a beat truck. They weigh a lot. Basically, they are not liabilities. You have to drive with sense as you would with any truck tire. A street tire is not going to do any better in these conditions than this mud tire. If you had, like I said, a real snow tire, or, which is not as good, but a Grabber, a Grabber AT2, I believe they're called. They have the snowflake designation on them. Snowflake being, maybe they get the feelings hurt easily, I don't know, but supposedly they work quite well. I haven't owned a set, as well as I believe all BF Goodrich all-terrains carry a snowflake. I had them on my excursion when I first got it. I was not impressed. Tire wear sucked. They were terrible in the mud, but at the same time, they're all-terrains. All-terrains are really a jack-of-all-trades, master of literally none of them, except for I think they do a little bit better in this type of slippery road condition or packed snow. Like a dirt road that's been plowed freshly where it's an ice rink because they plowed all the stuff that might have some traction off and left you with the ice. Yeah, if you know what I'm talking about, hit the like button. Geniuses, right? So, the gist is, Grabbers, in my opinion, are excellent. They work well for me 4 seasons out of the year. They have proven to work well in the sand. They've proven to work well in the snow. They've proven to work well on the highway. I've driven these tires. I've now put like 10,000 miles. I don't remember what, maybe one of you remembers exactly what miles I put these on. I put like 10,000 miles additionally on these tires, and I had them on the excursion for like 5,000 miles. I think it was something like that. 3,000, 5,000, something like that. So there's not a lot of miles, but there's a fair amount of miles. Enough miles where you'd expect to see some serious tire wear. I don't have any serious tire wear. They look, I haven't measured them with a gauge, but there's more than enough I guess nobody's around. Look on the brake. Right now it's a lot more cleaned off. That was like half brake. Plenty of traction right now. That section back there with the wind blowing across the road, I mean, that's just a layup for it, you know what I'm saying? Actually, I know exactly whose truck that is. That's the cloud truck. That's somewhere right there. So I'm going to venture onto a dirt road now. I mean, they really do work just fine in the snow. There's, you know, a couple inches here, 3 inches or whatever. I mean, you have to drive it. If you're gonna own a pickup truck in the wintertime, you either have to drive it, or, I mean, you might end up in the ditch because it's kind of part of the territory. There's no weight in the back of the truck, and you have to drive it. Traction control. I don't like driving with traction control, but anyway. Grabbers work quite well. I don't really have any complaints. And when you get yourself into a situation where you need all the traction, they're there. That's what's really great about them. I think it has something to do with the center portion of the tire having all that rubber there to put a little bit more rubber onto the ground, and then having the giant side lugs. It seems to draw a happy medium between the traction you need on hard pack and then the traction you need on loose surfaces. It really seems to work well in many different conditions: dry, wet, sloppy, you name it. I've driven it. It seems to work fine. And you know, I'm very impressed with these tires. That's why I have many sets of them. I like them quite a bit. There's a little bit of a bump underneath that pile of snow. But anyway. So I just want to do a little video now that we have our first snow about what I think about the grabbers in the snow. I think they're excellent. You definitely have to drive the truck when it's, you know, when you're doing almost 40 and 3 inches of snow. You have to drive it a little bit when you're on dirt road. But if you're on a freeway or whatever, you just get in the rut and it'll go straight, basically. But anyway. So we got just a little bit more snow now. In some spots it's like 3 or 4 inches, in other spots it's like no inches, like right there. But really these grabbers work pretty dang well. They really cut through. They, you know, you can go pretty quick, and if you did get out of whack, it's just really easy to save it on these tires. They seem to grip really well, even when the truck gets a little bit sideways. The grip that the side lugs have really help you get the truck straight. So really have very positive things to say. So if you're considering grabber X3's and you kind of, you know what you're getting into with the fact, I mean, they're mud tires, they are not snow tires. And in the same way, nor are all-terrains, unless very unique, or very few of them perform sort of like a snow tire grab, or dirt track. Supposedly the grabber AT2, supposedly, do not quote me on that, I have not owned the tire. So, please don't quote me on that. But anyway, turns out Ford lets you get pretty rowdy with traction control held, the button held. I'm dancing the truck around pretty far. I'm surprised it's not coming in and saying, nope, can't do that. I'll straighten out right there. There's that loose dirt. Woo. Ford lets you get pretty rowdy. I'm impressed. So if you're considering between Dodge and Ford, I think this truck lets you get a little bit more rowdy than my dad's truck. My dad's Cummins lets you get without the traction control coming on. Keep that in mind. Potentially might lead to more fun. See if I can drift the corner here. It's been first snow of the year, so don't quote me on my skills with Z. Oh yeah, pivoted right in. Oh yeah, look at that. Lots of angle to that one. I'm impressed. I didn't realize Ford was going to let you have this much leeway. I guess I didn't try it last year. How about that? Well, good to know. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.